Hey everybody. Um, I wanted to do another video because everybody should know that March is the Brain Injury Association month. And I don't know if any of you guys have already known that on April 28th of 2004, I had a brain injury right here. Um, that day was a kind of special day for me. Um, 2 weeks before that, I had gotten married. Was really excited. I and my wife at the time were ready to buy a home. We had we were living in an apartment, pretty small apartment, and we were getting excited. Um, I was also in the North Carolina National Guard, so I had to get ready with my unit to go to Iraq. Um, so that was another reason why we wanted to quickly uh, go and buy a home. So that day that I had gotten home from work, um, I was waiting on my wife and my father to get to the apartment. Um, when they had gotten there, they had a um, U-Haul um, truck so we could get all of our stuff on. And one of the first things that we were wanting to put on was the washer and dryer. Um, I think a big reason why we were wanting to do that first was because it was right there by the front door, and since we lived on the second floor, we wanted to get the heavy stuff down the stairs and onto the truck, and then we could worry about the other things, maybe with another truck or something like that. But but I was excited, and my dad and my wife at the time, they wanted a few minutes since they had just gotten home, and I was too excited. So I went ahead and I grabbed the dryer, and um, I um, I went ahead and wanted to put it on those things that you can put on and push them out and down the steps. So I was starting to do that by myself, and as I was going down the steps, I noticed that I had a lot of strain trying to get that thing down the steps by myself. So I started getting a headache, really bad headache, and as I got the dryer onto the truck, I was my headache was getting worse and worse, like a migraine headache. And I noticed throughout my life, I never had a migraine headache before. So I was wondering what the deal was. So I went back up the steps and I got into the apartment, was looking at my wife and my dad, and I was telling them, I was like, hey, look, my head is killing me. And they just kind of looked at me and they were like, well, why don't you just go lay down and we'll deal with everything else uh, while you're laying down. Well, when I went into the bedroom and I laid down, I started feeling weird. I I started sweating really bad and I started getting hot. Um, so I went to the windows and I opened up the windows to try and get some air in, and then I laid back on the bed and I was even sweating even more. So then I was like, oh man, I gotta take my clothes off. So I took my clothes off to where I was only with my underwear on. And about that point is when my mom showed up. And she came in, she was wanting to know what was wrong with me. So she came to the bedroom and she saw me acting weird. And she was asking me a question as to how I was feeling. And when I answered her question, I started talking like I was a baby. I couldn't get the words out. I had lost my speech. And when my mom, when she heard that, she uh, she called 911, and it really scared her. Talking about this kind of stuff really gets me emotional because that was a day where I felt like I almost died. I I could remember when the ambulance, well, actually, a policeman got there first, and he was really helping out. He was a nice guy. The ambulance got there and they couldn't get me down the stairs because of some reason why I couldn't tell you. But the policeman was there helping out my dad. They picked me up and they took me down the steps and they got me on the ambulance. By the time I got on to the ambulance, it was when um, I passed out, and I could remember shortly after I had um, I had gotten to the hospital is when I had kind of came out of it, and then I went right back into it, and I don't remember anything else. I um, I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks, and just about that whole time I was there in the hospital, I was in a coma. Um, that night, they had to do a a surgery because I had a brain hemorrhage on the left side of my brain over here, where where your temporal lobe resection, or the temporal lobe of your brain. Um, so like I said, I spent like 2 weeks while I was in the local hospital, and then I had to get moved to a larger hospital um, that was about an hour from there, so I could learn my do my um, rehab and stuff like that. Um, I was at that other hospital for 5 days because they noticed I was doing really well, and then I was out after my fifth day, and then I spent, um, if I'm not mistaken, like 5 months going to rehab, being driven back and forth uh, twice a week, and then at one point I was there for once a week. So So yeah, it it was a hard point of my life to get used to. It's been 11 years since I had my brain injury, and that is something I'm still trying to get used to. But I'm still here, so I enjoy talking to all of my YouTube friends, and it's great that you guys leave your comments. So if you guys would like to do me a favor and leave any other comments or concerns, you're more than welcome to. And sometime here in the future, I'm going to go back into my past and give you guys a history of what my life was like before I had my brain hemorrhage. All right, so if if like I said, if you guys can leave a message, please do, and I'll hear from you guys sometime soon. All right, talk to you later.